Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Superhero Roundup here on SourceFed Nerd. I'm Matt Lieberman.
I'm Sam Basher.
I'm DJ Wooldridge.
And for the very first time, this show is available both on YouTube and on iTunes as an audio podcast. So if you are listening to this on iTunes, hello, and you can watch this show live every Thursday on YouTube on the SourceFed Nerd channel at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can tweet us your thoughts or participate in the chat along with the show. And if you like to watch it on YouTube, but you prefer to take it on the go, maybe you can't sit in one place for a whole hour to watch this show, download it on iTunes and then listen to it in the car or on your headphones, wherever.
Options are good.
Everyone loves options. So today, obviously, is a big day because Daredevil came out at the end of last week.
Yep.
And many of you tuned in over the weekend as DJ Sam and I all watched the entire series in a day.
13 hours.
I hope you
drove
guys
us nearly insane.
I hope you guys enjoyed like the progression of our insanity and like our composure. Because in the beginning we're like, yeah, episode 1, and then episode 7 we're like, all right, well we're almost there, like halfway, and then 13.
I feel like after episode 7 is where things really went off the rails.
Yeah.
On 13 we just like we didn't even talk on the stream.
No,
we just sat there
and like
watch
300
it.
people watched us just sit there for an hour.
We had a couple quips.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about all of season 1 of Daredevil.
Yep.
So beware. We're going to try to avoid spoilers, but honestly, like, just go watch the show.
We're gonna watch the show. We're probably gonna spoil some stuff. If you desperately need to avoid spoilers, tune back in like 20 minutes.
In like 20 minutes. So we're going to talk about Daredevil first, and we're going to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Flash, and Arrow. And I'm also, just really quickly, we're going to do Gotham and iZombie in 2 quick hits.
Yeah.
iZombie, best episode of the season. So
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I also think what Max Rager has something to do with the zombies.
Agreed.
Very cool. And I loved the brain eating this week. I liked how emotional it was and how she was tied to the character.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That was great.
Very smart choices. Gotham. So I watched Gotham with my girlfriend last night, and she has never seen Gotham before. She'd never seen anything from it, and we watched the whole episode. And you know how at the end of the episode, the Gotham title screen comes back up?
Yeah.
She's like, that was the most impressive part of the show.
Was
the title that came back up.
Yeah.
She was like, that's a well-executed title.
Yeah.
I didn't like anything
I
else.
attempted to watch it twice and fell asleep both times.
It's that
so
bad.
I will say that I feel like the best executed title is Daredevil, because I don't think we got tired of it once.
No.
I
entire
watched it
time
13 times in one day.
We still really liked it.
Found out, I think, why. It's designed by the same guys that did True Detective's title sequence.
Whoa,
And
Marvel's
that was a
smart.
great title
Yeah,
sequence.
it was a very good title
Yeah.
sequence.
I've never watched that show, but everyone gives praise to that title sequence.
Yeah.
That
So,
show.
okay, so we watched all of Daredevil in a day.
Yes, which is the worst way to watch anything.
Really, really is. And I feel like maybe next time we'll split it over 2 days or
Maybe.
3 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's exhausting. By the end of it, like, you guys watched the entire thing. I fell asleep in the last 5 minutes.
Oh, yes, you did.
Basically, once the actual red shoot sewed up, you're like,
I was like,
The thing we're waiting for.
Yeah.
let's talk about the suit really quickly, because we had some strong opinions, me especially, about the red suit. I still prefer the black suit.
the
Agreed.
black suit was so effective.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was not so on board with black suit because it was kind of basic, but it was so sleek, and I really liked it was black, but it had the red.
Inseam.
Yeah, and they had little gauntlet like
Well,
designs on
it's
there.
funny, if you going back, I started rewatching again like a normal human being, episode to episode, just over a couple days, and he does overall. He gets elbow pads. He does bulk it up as it goes on, and it's just sleek. And I feel like the red suit could have done with some of that sleekness.
Yeah, it's not sleek, and it has a lot of weird color scheme things. Like the devil horns are their own color, separate from the rest of the helmet, and the eyes have like this weird thing. And the suit, like, why are your panels like black? Like,
Yeah,
maybe he was
too,
rushed.
I think it's too inspired by the Dark Knight's costume. A little. I feel like a lot of superhero things are too enamored with like a lot of panels and a lot of lines and like, that's not what makes those things iconic. Is that they're sleek, you know?
Yeah.
The most iconic part is like the horns, which they kind of had there. But
Kinda.
They bug me actually.
But honestly, I feel like you could have changed his black costume to red, put the double D's on there, give him the horn mask, and we would have been fine.
been great.
I was okay without the double D's. If they were there, I'd be fine. If they weren't there,
I don't think
wouldn't
anyone's
matter.
going to complain about it.
No, but like, it's just bulky.
Yeah. So the red suit, meh. Overall, I don't know about you guys. If I were to give this whole season an overall grade, I would probably give it a B-, with the idea that I feel like it peaked at episode 2, leveled out till about episode 5 to 7, got real slow, and then started to pick back up again at the last episode.
Okay, so
that is my overall assessment
DJ's
of the show.
short review, Sam's short review.
No, we were talking about it, and after about episode 6, I think.
Like,
For
once
me,
the Russians died.
Once the Russians died,
and
I
stick-
can't really remember what happened.
Yeah.
So it kind of blurred together. But because the beginning and the end for me were so strong, I'd give it like an A-.
Yeah.
I'm more optimistic than you guys about this
I will.
kind of stuff,
It was amazingly shot.
Oh, yes.
Especially those first 2 episodes were written by Drew Goddard. Were very solid. Just overall, pacing wise, a little bit wonky.
Right.
For me.
And I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I just think the lighting may have kind of, like, the production value kind of changed a little bit, like, halfway through. Maybe it's because we watched it for 13 hours and it kind of, like, lost its, like, glamour. But, like, throughout, I was like, it's not looking as sharp
It makes
anymore.
me wonder if they shoot these shows like people watch them, where it's not normal TV production schedule, where they're just kind of, like, muscling through. So they start off real strong, and by the end, they're like, we just got to
just finish this.
Hey, real
fucking
quick,
show.
in the chat, Thomas James makes a good point. If you guys remember, the guy who made him the suit said he didn't have time to finish it all the way.
Well, that's
I feel
like a
that
fun
was
joke.
I feel like that was an excuse because they also Claire Temple also kind of crapped on the black suit, like, oh, your suit's real lame. I feel like those are to cover their bases for anybody that was not a fan of those things, and maybe you did not need them if your suit was a little bit better. Matt, what was your opinion of the?
Overall, I'd give it a solid B. The strength of those first couple of episodes that were written by Drew Goddard.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, the show was originally going to be run by Drew Goddard, who
Cabin
was
in the
a
Woods.
big Whedonverse guy, Cabin in the Woods, and he got pulled off after 2 or 3 episodes to go do Sinister 6 over at Sony, and now potentially Spider-Man.
Yeah, which
So-
if he gets to do Spider-Man, smart gamble on his part.
Yeah,
Yes.
because he's great. What he did here with Daredevil, what he set up was really great. Handing the show over to Stephen S. tonight, not to knock him, because the show still does, I think, a lot more right than it does wrong.
Agreed.
You can definitely see the wear and tear of switching showrunners midstream and having to figure out what to do with all the plot elements that they had figured out while Drew was there.
Yeah.
I think that the show starts really strong. Episodes 1 through 4 are like nearly flawless for me. And it's such a strong beginning. It's such a great introduction to the character. Very lean, efficient. It's a great take on an origin story.
Incredible fight scenes.
Incredible fight
Mind-blowing
scenes.
fight
The episode 2 fight scene that's inspired by The Raid and
Old Boy and stuff
Old
like
Boy.
that.
True Detective's got one too. right?
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
single
again,
time.
calling back that True Detective influence as well, are very, very strong. Once they introduce Wilson Fisk as a character, you start out extremely excited to see him. And the more we put emphasis on this love story, the more unfocused the show becomes. And that's really where the problem is. The problem for me is that a lot of the disparate elements of the investigation never came together in a way that was satisfying. Because you've got Foggy and Karen working on something over here.
Almost always separate from whatever Matt's doing.
That did bug me too.
And then Karen and Ben usually working alone, and then Matt's working alone.
Ultimately,
and they never cross over.
I guess spoilers, but the Ben Karen thing ultimately doesn't result into anything.
Right.
Really, if you think
Really
about
at
it,
all.
it doesn't result in any way.
It upsets Fisk, but it doesn't actually teach them anything actionable.
I think one of my biggest frustrations is the Ben Urich arc. I feel like they really wasted that character personally.
Because of the comics, because he's so important
Well,
with
not
so
just
many
because
other
of
characters.
the comics, but I feel like give him, if you're going to have that character, have him do something that's really Ben Urich, like
monumental.
If he'd published his article and really made an impact on the story, that's something that Ben Urich does in the comics that makes him really cool. But he ultimately teaches Karen some things, and that's about it.
Well, that's the
Karen's
thing.
Then I have a question. When Wilson Fisk comes out and spoils it for them and shows like he's a good guy, and Ben Urich stops sending that message. I'm sorry, spoilers, whatever. But
again, we're assuming that you've watched it with us.
We're
and
assuming.
you just roll with it.
Would it have been more Ben Urich for him to still write it and publish it, or would that not have changed the story whatsoever for you? For your liking
I don't
the
know. I
character?
just if you're going to utilize that character, give him. have him be an effective part of the story, because
Right.
ultimately the way it ends up, it was one of those that like.
Because that's the thing. You're absolutely right, DJ, because Ben he publishes a story off camera
Yeah.
in the first episode.
Yeah.
And then after that, he never publishes another story.
And you keep hearing about all these epic things Ben Urich did back in the day, but
Battle of New York.
you never get to see it. And,
Right.
and I think another thing with me, you brought up Kingpin, and he was a very complicated character for me because the way Vincent D'Onofrio plays him, it was weird to me. It's not what I expected.
Yeah,
And
there's some people in the chat agree and disagree. One person, Lucky Berserker, says, Kingpin is an amazing villain. I am the ill intent.
That scene was actually really good. I think
That
that's
was-
my favorite Kingpin scene.
that was a wonderful scene.
But I will say this. As much as I have mixed feelings about him, whenever he was on screen, I could not take my eyes off of him, even if it was to, like, figure out how I felt about him.
Right.
And
Or make
even,
fun of him.
even when he did awful,
Oh my
awful
God, I made
things,
fun of
I
him so much.
really had a hard time rooting against him. Even
Yeah.
though he looked constipated most of the time, for some reason... And
Or like he's about to cry.
I think that was part of my
It's just
mixed
really
feelings
sad.
is that I kind of wanted... I think some of the best villains in anything, like example, Koba from Planet of the Apes.
Rise of
Incredible
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
incredible villain, very compelling, but by the end, I could not wait to see somebody put him down.
Just kick his
I
ass.
really wanted that for Kingpin. I think it's an example of a good villain that even though you're very compelled by him, you really want somebody to take him
and
down.
I think
And
that's
that's
what
the
they were
thing,
trying to
there's-
do, though, with
Yeah.
Kingpin, though.
But
Because
if
he
you
was
re-
so...
I honestly, I felt as much for him as I did for
But DJ,
Matt.
That's the point, though.
Yeah.
I won't say who the death is. For those of you who have not seen it,
Yeah.
there is a key death right before the finale at the hands of Kingpin.
You know what? I think to do this, we really need to just say, if you don't want spoilers, stop watching.
Stop
and
watching
come back
and
in a
tune in
minute,
later.
And we're going to go because
All right, fine.
if you've watched it, you're going to be frustrated by all this
Fine.
non-spoiler
Okay,
thing.
so Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, kills Ben Urich.
Yes.
He kills Ben
Which
Urich,
is
and
a
that's
complete
supposed
waste
to
of a
be
character.
that's supposed to be our moment where we're like, oh, unfair. He deserves to get his ass beat. We
Yeah.
want to see him go down. But it feels like such an unwarranted and useless death. Like it didn't hit me the way it should have, because I know how many storylines that character belongs in, and it feels like a waste. I feel like
Yeah.
Well, like, separate yourself from the comic book Ben Urich, even though
Again,
he's amazing.
But again, if
Yeah.
you separate him from the comic book Ben Urich, the character's still basically useless in the show.
yeah.
What bothered me, I was more affected by Wesley's death, Kingpin's right-hand man,
Yeah.
than I was by Ben Urich. And for how much I love Ben Urich, that is frustrating. I should have been more hurt by Ben Urich's death than by Wesley's death.
Yeah.
But
Not that I was
in
hurt by
terms
Wesley's death, but I
of-
was shocked.
But but again, like, separating yourself, is it because of his role in the show or your history with the character
think
and your knowledge of the comics?
both.
Because just trying to separate myself from it, like, I wish he did more.
Yeah.
Because I do know some of Ben Urich's stories. I haven't read every comic ever,
Oh,
but
yeah.
But
Phil Jenkins at the Obese Wizard agrees with us. He says Ben is way too integral to the Marvel universe for them to handle him the way that they did in Daredevil.
And again, even if you'd given him some sort of like, oh, this is the Ben Urich from the comics moment before he died, well, at least he got that, but he didn't even get that. Like, I think another thing, not to get so hung up on them, but we're talking about integrating characters from the comics. I feel like this show is a solid 13 episodes. I feel like it would have been an amazingly fantastic 8
episodes.
I agree.
If it was 8 episodes, it would have been killer.
And I know we all want more. We want more, right? It's our problem as an audience. We always want more, but there were episodes that weren't essential.
Flashback episode.
Yeah,
the flashback episode
with Foggy
was so
And
wasted.
it should have been one of the best episodes.
I enjoyed Foggy and Matt's relationship, but
I
did I
think
need a
it's great.
whole episode dedicated to Foggy, like, hounding Matt and being like, why would you
Well,
lie
that's
to
the
me
problem.
and everything?
It's a very inactive episode, but the character stakes are never higher than that episode.
Than that moment.
It should have been very well written. It should have been moving. There should have been action involved, not necessarily fights, but emotional action. I felt like we were beating up against the same problem over and over until it was over.
You know what I feel like would have made that episode better? I think part of that episode's specific flaw is it did not, other than you got the present thing where Matt and Foggy or Foggy's finally realizing Matt's situation. The flashback episode parts of it did not give us any information that we did not already know, that they had not already said through dialogue in the past. You know what I think made that episode better? Show Elektra in the flashbacks. They mention her.
Yeah.
Show her. And I feel like this is a problem with a lot of Marvel properties for the TV. If you look at the Marvel movies, they are overstuffed. There's so many. My only problem with Captain America: Winter Soldier is they give every character from the comics a moment, and it gets to be a little bit much. But for some reason, the TV shows are very anemic with how they use characters, and they're very cagey about it.
Because they're trying to like spread it out.
But the problem is, you have 13 hours of content. Bring in Elektra. Bring in Bullseye. With the episode Stick, they introduce this whole mythology that only exists in that episode. And it's one of those. When you read comics, there's a term called writing for the trade, where you don't write it to be strong issue to issue. You basically write it with the collection in mind,
so that it's a strong arc.
Yeah, but then the individual issues, kind of suffer in the translation, and I feel like that's the situation where you have here. Like, why don't we? You have this very grounded street level take on Daredevil. Why don't you have that for the first 6 episodes? And then have Kingpin. We all know it's very clear in the series that Daredevil has powers. Why doesn't Kingpin call in Crusher Creel, who can absorb stuff? And now all of a sudden you have a character arc with Matt, because that's the guy that his dad beat in the gym. But now, because of the powers Crusher Creel has, he would almost be unstoppable for Daredevil. Like, how does Daredevil stop that character?
True, but this world isn't like, we're trying to still deal with real world problems. Bringing in a super wouldn't feel right for me to watch this series.
But if you think about it, with the Hand episode, you're introducing Black Sky, all this mysticism.
It was just hints, though.
I know, but it should have been more than hints, because there was so much filler. And I think another good example, imagine if it was 8 episodes, right? And so you still have the same budget the show has. And if you look at all the gangs, they all connect to different Marvel things, except for the Russians. So why don't you bring in a Russian character that Daredevil has a long history with, and use that extra budget that you're saving with those 4 episodes and bring in Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow for an episode?
That'd be cool.
Like, why did that show not cross over with anything?
Well, because it was an experiment, DJ. It's never been done before. It's never been done like this. And the people in the chat think we are a bunch of whiners. I saw a bunch of people write, "It's freaking season 1, DJ."
Yeah, that doesn't mean. But I shouldn't be
bored. But that doesn't mean that it should be. No, it was a great show.
Yeah, we have to say though, we watched it in 13 hours straight. Yeah. That's gonna leave a bad taste in our mouth. Like, that has to.
That could be part of it.
That's too much. We got too much dessert.
Here, wait. Before we talk about all the things that we again think could be better, what are the things that absolutely, like, out and out worked for us?
Murdoch, who played Matt Murdoch?
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox as Matt Murdoch was
great job.
Fantastic.
His dad, fantastic for me.
Yeah, I loved Matt Murdoch so much.
Battling Jack Murdoch was also great. I loved the child alcoholism that was rampant throughout the show.
So much drinking. Alcoholism in general was rampant through it.
Yes.
Pretty much all the acting I liked. I think initially you were not the biggest fan of Foggy. I like Foggy.
He grew on me a lot over the course of the series.
I think the series needed Foggy. They needed that comic relief. Although that series would be very dark. I liked the dark. I feel like the darkness in the show was perfect for Daredevil, because when Kingpin in the Condemned episode where Daredevil has the Russian guy with him, and he's talking to Kingpin on the walkie-talkie, this is the first time in a lot of series where the villain is like, "Hey, you and I are a lot alike," and after watching the show. Yeah, they are. Also, for all of Gotham's talk of corruption, this show did a lot better job showing corruption.
Oh my God!
So much better.
So many props have to go to the scene where they bring in that low-level thug, and he's like, "Okay, it's King Fisk. It's Wilson Fisk. He is the guy you want to look for." He's like, "Who's that?" He's like, "He's this mysterious guy." And both cops are like, "Who did it last time? You did it last time?" And they switch, and the way Matt reacts to it, and he figures it all out, like, you're like, "Oh my God, this goes so deep into so many facets."
Yeah, and instead of saying, "Oh, we're corrupt," and you never really see it, like,
you saw it.
They're corrupt.
Yeah. Let's be clear. We're not saying that this is in any way a bad show.
No.
This show is good enough that we want it to be the best show.
And actually, they can take a lot of, like, the flaws and any complaints that people have and make the other Netflix properties even better.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's something that actually I worry about, because Daredevil has such a rich mythology and so many characters in his world, and the fact that we didn't utilize them. What's going to happen when you get to AKA Jessica Jones, where she doesn't have really any characters that connect specifically to her?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we've introduced all these characters. Now, we got a few comments in the chat. We got a couple of tweets I want to read. Sean Jackson says, didn't they say they're planning on bringing Elektra in season 2?
There's no real talks of a season 2. We don't even know if there's going to be a season 2.
Yeah, we don't even know if there is a season 2 yet.
The mythical season 2, there will be Bullseye and there will be Elektra per the creators.
Yes.
That's what we got, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Scott at SimsFinch on Twitter writes, I like Wilson Fisk, but I couldn't help seeing a big baby-looking man in a suit. No. But that is kind of how he looks, and he actually looks perfect. I thought he looked perfect.
You mentioned that even his head shape is perfect, and
even
it
the
is.
head shape is perfect.
And
that's
it's intimidating.
I liked him in Vanessa. I like Vanessa a lot.
She's a Lady Macbeth.
Yes. I was waiting for her to be kind of like, I don't know Vanessa's like story. I don't know Kingpin's story a lot from the comics, but she's like, I thought she was going to manipulate him a little bit and like use him for his power. That's not what it was at all. It was like this kind of great love story. I mean, again,
it is also interesting for all the talk of Matt being this ladies' man. He's the only one that does not get laid in this series.
No, he does not. He has
actually like that.
A love story that lasts 3 seconds and then goes away.
Wow, I really wish.
And again, not to go back to things that bother, but there appears to be this aborted arc where there's this chemistry between Karen and Foggy.
Yeah.
And it looks like Matt's going to get with Karen because they're the ones that really have chemistry, and then I feel like that would have meshed really well with Foggy's frustration with Matt, but whatever.
Foggy is muy guapo. He's muy guapo.
Muy guapo.
The old woman was able to see it. I don't know why Karen can't see it. He is so guapo. And but here's the thing. My favorite part of watching this show with you guys was Wilson Fisk. I thought he was intimidating, complex, but also really sad. And that was really funny to me. And I wrote up a bunch of tweets with the hashtag Fisk Thoughts, and I highly recommend that you do the same. OMG second date, don't freak out, Wilson, don't freak out, hashtag SFN Daredevil. Oh my god, she's talking, what do I do? She's so pretty I could rip off a Russian's head, wait, oh no! I don't know what sidle means, just smile and act natural, Wilson!
That poor Russian man. He was the smart one of the two.
Smart,
and
nice one.
He barges in, and he's dumb.
In the history, in the flashback,
blocked me.
In the flashback, was he the one who ripped out the rib, or was that the other brother who ripped
out
the rib?
brother.
Oh my god, that was so brutal.
Yeah, I
feel
brutal violence.
I feel like the violence in the show is very effective. I've heard that some people were kind of put off by it, and I guess if you're a traditional Marvel Cinematic Universe fan, like it's a lot.
No, I was watching this. I'm like, if they had Daredevil in the Avengers, they'd have to like kind of tail him back. They'd like punch a Hydra agent out, and he'd go and just like rip him in half, and he's like, Daredevil,
calm down.
We don't get blood. What are you doing?
It is so hilarious that they keep mentioning how much like he doesn't kill people. And as you watch the show, like bullshit, he hasn't beaten somebody with a heart murmur and they've died.
Okay,
it is rough.
John Daly at Ventcast says pre-Punisher Punisher in season 2. Kingpin hires him, kidnaps and kills his family.
Honestly,
Friends say it could work. John Daly's friends say it could work. So obviously,
if Punisher had been in the first season,
no, in season 2.
Oh, in season 2. Honestly, Punisher would have been a great character because especially as Matt's dealing with the crisis of is he as bad as Kingpin? Mm-hmm. Punisher is a great foil for that. And Punisher and Daredevil have a great rapport because Punisher has a great respect for Daredevil because he wishes he could be a no-kill person, but he sees that some people just need to be killed. And I feel like that would have been a great physical manifestation of Daredevil's crisis. You have all these characters, and I feel like that's kind of the beautiful part. Again, we watched an episode this season of Arrow where there's a flashback to Diggle teaming up with Deadshot and Cupid to go, not a flashback, it was a current thing, to go save a senator while Arrow fights Adam, and you're telling me in all the cinematic universe, like, Daredevil has a couple scenes with Night Nurse, and that's the best we could muster?
DJ, it is a Netflix budget. It is a Netflix budget, 13 episodes, never been done before. This is the first building block. They did Iron Man 1. You didn't see anyone swing. You didn't see Spider-Man swinging into Iron Man 1. You didn't see Thor dropping a hammer on Obadiah Stane.
But you couldn't say the words "the hand." Oh, it's a.
They did.
We're not Yakuza.
No.
We're not Yakuza. We're not Yakuza. You can't just say the hand.
They did because Stick chopped off that dude's hand.
But you know what I mean? That
Sam
has
a point. That
caginess is kind of what killed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I feel like it keeps...
These are two different things.
Very different
Either
things.
You need to create more original characters to bulk out your thing, or don't be afraid to use the mythology. You're telling me if this was a Batman show, we wouldn't have references to Batman's villains?
No,
It would be Penguin and that
one's
be it?
No one's saying that, DJ.
But
But
you know what I mean?
We agree, though, that they should be going, like, maybe diving in deep and taking more risks.
Either go big or go home.
Yeah. I have to say really quick, episode 2 had so many good things about it. Best part of the whole series for me is when the detective's going door to door, and Rosario Dawson needs to hide him, and he says once he leaves, he didn't believe you, and he drops a fire extinguisher from 6 floors up and lands on a dude. That's death immediately, and then he throws him off a building.
He tortures him and then throws him off a building.
No, not only tortures him, shoves a piece of glass or some shit into his eye.
He shivs him.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he's fine.
One of my favorite Daredevil moments is when the building explodes and he takes the guy that he's fighting and uses him as a shield. Daredevil's kind of a dick.
Yeah, Daredevil's an asshole.
One, DJ, they couldn't have used Crusher Creel because Crusher Creel died on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He didn't die. He turned into stone, and maybe he doesn't turn into stone anymore.
No, he touched the Diviner, and the Diviner kills people.
No. Coulson set it up with they put the thing in his back. And the thing in his back turned him to stone because it made him unstable. Then they put him in a case, and
so
they gave him the Talbot.
With as well connected as Kingpin, clearly it's something. I feel like they could have done more with it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, fine.
I'm saying there was a lot of filler episodes, and I feel like with as rich as Daredevil's mythology is, there was no need for a dull episode.
Okay,
That's all I'm saying.
You're not wrong. Dalton Minima at Control Alt Llamas says, "I love the fact that they use squibs in this show. A lot of like the physical stunt work, the fights, the shooting. Like when Wesley gets shot, that was shocking and great. The amount of bullets she poured into him was awesome. Galactic
and
Gamer,
the way that scene plays is really good.
He got up real quick
Gamer
after getting shot once in the
chat wanted us to talk about the use of sound on the show, and I thought that the whole show had great sound design.
Yes.
Like just bone-crunching violence.
Production values on the show were solid.
Marvel does a great job with music,
solid.
too. The music in the show is great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all...
I just want to read this Ahmed Khan comment. D-fucking-J, it's a fucking season 1.
But again, why did season 1? Arrow season 1 had talked about League of... No, I disagree. Had League of Assassins, had Huntress, had Deadshot, introduced Deathstroke, had Speedy. Like, why does season 1 need to be slow and boring?
22 episodes.
Why does season 1... Like, but again, 13 episodes. Why were there ones that I was falling asleep during?
Why was it
13
that
hours.
13 hours, I could say confidently that maybe 8 of them were good and like 4 of them were great?
Yes, I would say 2 of them were great, 5 of them were good, and 2 were not good.
Okay, here we got to move on.
We do have to move on.
Final thoughts on Daredevil.
My final thoughts on Daredevil. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to rewatch the season in a couple of months and take my time and see if I enjoy it better.
Yes.
I would definitely recommend it to friends. I think that it's a really promising first step in a different direction for Marvel, a different tone, a different level of directing quality on television, and I really think that this is a benchmark that they're only going to raise with these other shows. I think that all of the problems that we're talking about are currently being addressed. This is the first time that they've had real reception from the audience on something of this type, and they're building towards the Defenders, and I feel like they're going to take all of this into account when moving forward.
Yeah,
true. No, I think I loved it the most out of the 3 of us. There was definitely flaws in it, and I saw them, and they did bug me, but like, this was brand new. They haven't done this before, and I can accept the flaws. I loved it. The characters were great. The stories were great, and if they better get a season 2. I know they have a bunch of other things to introduce, like Jessica Jones, which I still kind of iffy on that, Iron Fist and Luke Cage and the Defenders, but a season 2 would be amazing.
I would love to see season 2. I thought it was a really solid show. Those first 2 episodes promised me a show that I would have liked better than any of the other superhero shows we cover.
Yeah.
And it's not. I think Arrow's a better show. I think Arrow's a better show. I think my biggest problems are just something that are endemic of all Marvel properties, of this like, oh, you want to see this really cool thing? We're going to hint at it, but wait till later. Wait. That's a waste of time.
That's Thanos.
You know what I mean? And I think it works for their movies.
You mean like how Madame Gao comes from a place far away, but they can't say that it's Kunlun?
Yeah, I feel like that works for their movies. I think it's movie people making decisions for their TV series, and it's making their TV series weaker than they should be.
Okay, that's fair.
But it's definitely a very solid show. I enjoyed most of it. and I definitely recommend it.
Okay, we got to move on. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It was a good episode. It was a good
This
episode.
was my favorite episode in a long time.
Yeah.
I was so happy it was
But
good.
again, talking about withholding, why are we getting Melinda's cavalry story at the end of season 2?
No, that's a big problem too. If they had that like end of season 1, like in the middle of all that Hydra stuff, to like figure out like, what made all these people how they are, like that would have been amazing. But regardless, that was an amazing story.
And it explains
And violent.
It explains her trauma. And again, talking about like, I don't know about you guys, but after seeing Daredevil, I'm like, all the other action sequences in our other shows this week are going to look like not good. But I thought the action in this episode was very effective. And I thought the mother-daughter story, the way they explained kind of Melinda's separation with her husband, which they're so good together. I'm so bummed they're not together. And Sky with her mom, I thought that was very effective too. And it also showed why this Inhuman stuff, like how it's dangerous for Sky.
Oh, it's super
for all her
dangerous.
mom going like, we're not going to leave you. That's not true. This is going to go bad.
Yeah.
No, and I love that. Again, S.H.I.E.L.D. season 2 does not waste any time to get to the next point. It's like, like the mom's going to train you. I'm your mom.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm your mom. And and the dad and the mom got to reunite, and that ending scene was really sweet.
Yeah.
It was super sweet.
Although I was very off-put by like what Lincoln's like. It's not a dream.
It's not a dream.
What's
He's
going
talking
on right
about
now?
Raina's
I
nightmares.
understand that, but it was a weird. It made me like. It was off-putting.
Right.
It's cool, but it was just like what's happening? Is it a dream?
I was fine with
The
it.
way he said it made it feel like it was a dream.
Okay. But it was not a dream.
It was not a dream.
It was not a dream. And I had a bunch of people tweet at me, and maybe DJ, you can explain this better. They were all saying that Raina being some kind of telepath or telling the future somehow leads us to Secret Warriors.
I have no idea. Oh, rumor though, the spin-off series with Coulson and this whole like secret. I have no idea. I don't know.
With
I don't know.
Operation Theta Project.
Yeah, but the
Theta
Operation
Project,
Theta,
yeah.
with the Operation Theta and the idea of getting bunks.
Theta Protocol,
The
Theta Protocol.
Theta Protocol. Somebody said that maybe one of the reviews I said maybe this is a way to get to Avengers Academy, and that might be the spin-off series, and that would be great. That would be so.
That sounds too cool for
sounds like
Marvel.
It does.
Yeah,
it
sounds
does
too
sound like
cool.
too cool for one of their TV series. But if it was Avengers Academy or you're talking Secret Warriors, was Nick Fury goes underground and he pulls out what a caterpillar protocol, which is basically the offspring of power people that nobody else but Nick Fury knows about, and he creates a secret team of these teenagers.
That's cool.
Which would also be a really cool spin-off for the series because
That sounds way
ABC
better
would
than
do
Agents
well.
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, and honestly, they could have used
Sounds
some
like
of those.
Misfits.
Quake was a part of that team.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I have to give props to Daredevil because for some reason with Marvel, because it brings it back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but like I felt like with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I had to wait for another Inhuman to be introduced to get a powered person. Like I felt like no one existed to just have powers. Like no one got like powers the old-fashioned way, but like they had to have like alien blood or some garbage.
Yeah.
But like with Daredevil, it's like okay, there can be like other ways of people getting powers now. So I hope they bring that
Which,
over the
by
show.
the way, that first scene of Daredevil showing how he got his powers was really effective.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Really
back
quick.
to Agents
Yeah, sorry,
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Back
yeah.
to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, here's the thing. They held this story until revealing it affected the main plot in a dramatic way, or we
And it
needed
did
to
do that.
reveal that information to understand what she was going through.
Yeah.
And this betrayal by Coulson and everything that's been going on with Skye and the Inhumans definitely makes it the right time.
I agree with that.
And I thought that it was very effective. I loved seeing Melinda's marriage before this.
Happy Melinda.
Happy Melinda's great.
How immediately it changed.
Yeah.
I
also miss Happy Coulson. We got that in the flashback too. I miss Happy Coulson.
Happy, the one that we like.
Right,
Yeah.
2007 Coulson, which means he was mere months away from
Iron Man. That's a good point.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a solid episode, but definitely wasn't better than Arrow this week. I would say it was better than the Flash episode this week, which was
Definitely.
kind of Crumsville.
Really quick, my favorite part though had to be the rock part, holding the rock and listening to the mountain. Like that was just like it wasn't like expertly done. It was just a cool way of exploring her powers.
Can I just say real quick,
I like
though?
the glasses. That
Yeah,
was
the
a really
glasses
good
was
feature.
great.
Yeah.
She caused an avalanche, and she's like smiling and laughing, and like, I did it. She definitely killed animals. There
I
are
would've
dead,
loved-
dead
maybe.
animals.
One animal.
Her mom was like, "You can't hurt anybody here." I would have loved to see like a punch into like a hiker, like, "Oh, this is great," and then
What a
after-
wonderful day to be in the Alps. No,
It just
she
crushes them.
definitely killed at least one living thing, if not dozens, with that massive avalanche that she's so happy about.
No, her vibrations scared him away
Clearly,
first.
That's not how it works.
It's not a Buddhist temple where we're afraid of stepping on every hand. So.
A few people in the chat have said that Raina is now the real clairvoyant. She was obsessed with the clairvoyant last season, and now she's clairvoyant.
I like Raina's design. Can I say that? I like cool
Me too.
Raina. How long do you think
feel
she's
so
bad
grown
for her?
I know.
I feel so bad for her. She can't go outside.
And I like the dynamic. They kind of hinted at more because you've got teleporter guy. What's his name? Gordon kind of lashing out at Lincoln, and you can kind of see that divide between ones that are physically changed and ones that just get cool powers.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, I'd be pissed too. Like, here I am, I've got these quills that are cutting me all the time. Cool, I can read minds, but, like, you just get to make earthquakes. Like, come on.
You get the other guy gets to fly and shoot electricity.
Catch a little heat between them?
Yes.
Between Raina and Gordon? I'm all on board for that.
She was definitely
They got to be careful.
She was picking up what
they've got to be
careful.
Okay. All right, we got to move on.
Yeah.
Flash, we had the Atom guest star on it this week.
Barely a team
but
up.
But basically, this episode was all about horrible plot contrivances to drive Iris and Eddie apart. Oh, you can't tell her. Why?
Because it doesn't really make sense that they brought Eddie in on it. Also, I do understand the dynamic, and I kind of like it, and I feel like what they're setting up is once they deal with the Eobard Thawne situation, I feel like whatever goes on this season will drive Eddie to become an antagonist, possibly leading him to be another reverse
Zoom?
Flash. Yeah.
It'll be Zoom, yeah.
But, I don't know why he doesn't. I think you imagine, I don't know about you guys, I imagine if I were in this situation and I had a loved one and it's like, I can't tell you. And I think my next thing to say there is, because it's not my secret.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm holding somebody else's secret and it's not my place to tell you. Please understand that. And if she can't, you're not in a good relationship.
No.
And
You're
they
not,
just
but
figured that out.
She's not in a good relationship either because her dad and her boyfriend and her best friend / brother are all in cahoots to keep her in the dark. How misogynistic and backwards can
that
this
is my
show
favorite thing that they've done. I think Eddie, the fact that Eddie's like, why are we? So we're telling everybody about Iris, and I love that. I love because it makes Eddie immediately likable because. Yeah, why are we not telling Iris?
Yeah, because that scene where it's like, I'm her father. Once you marry her, then you have Sam. Like, excuse me?
Yeah, what was
you
that?
can say whatever
Until
you
you
want.
signed a marriage contract and shaken my hand
She's
and
my
given me
property.
40 pieces of silver.
Honestly, if I were the dad situation, that be like, listen, you could have more say than me when you're the husband. Right now, you're just the boyfriend. Slow your roll.
Yeah,
a little, but
even though
she's
I
an
agree
adult.
with Eddie.
Turning Abyss says, why didn't Adam shrink?
He's Ray. He's Ray Palmer. We don't call him the Atom until he shrinks.
Right.
He does not earn the title
The suit
Atom
is
until he
the
shrinks.
Atom.
He's the Atom suit.
Nope.
He's Atom Man.
He's Ray. I'm going to call him Ray Palmer until he shrinks. He's not.
But
right
DJ,
now
he's got a magic bee.
Right,
He's got
right
a magic
now,
bee
right now,
that's gonna
he's
turn.
A
Ursat's
magic
Iron
bee
Man.
robot.
Right now, he's Ursat's Iron Man, or he's Blue Beetle in the skies.
He's
He
pretty
is not
much
the
Iron
Atom
Man.
It's
All right, we got
had
one more point, then we got to move on.
Okay.
Magic Bee. I don't know. The chick they hired to be Bug-Eyed Bandit was from Walking Dead. I like her. I feel like if they gave her more to do, she would have been pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I actually liked the robotic bees thing. I liked it. I liked the episode. I thought it was fun. I think Cisco and Ray's interactions were great.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked Cisco's flashing to the other timeline. And
that was interesting.
And that last scene where they reveal it to Caitlin, and Caitlin's like, bullshit, and Cisco's like, I'm on board with this, I think is a great setup.
Okay, really quick. That makes no sense. Like in the
Did he-
show
Yes, it
with
makes
like
no
things.
sense.
Okay, so Barry, really quick, if you didn't see, he went back in time and reset a whole day that should affect the whole universe to some degree.
Yeah.
The only person to get his memories back is one of the key characters to this show. No one else on the planet is like, well, I'm getting these
That
waking
you know
nightmares.
Of, that you know of.
Yeah, but
here's-
we know that's not
but
what it
here's
is.
And
the
he also
reason
got
why.
killed.
He got killed.
There's plenty of people that died, probably.
I'll give you a plausible explanation, Sam.
With time travel?
No, it's because Barry time traveled using the Speed Force, and Cisco came into direct contact with the Speed Force when Reverse Flash stuck his hand into his chest.
That's not a bad. That's
That's actually what they're probably going to say,
basically-
and that
it's sci-fi
bugs
magic,
me.
like
Yeah.
Doctor Who
It's magic.
explanations, but it works.
It's as
I feel
magic
like
as
it's
the
a-
bee.
I feel like it's
all right. We got to move on. Let's talk Arrow. Great episode.
Oh my God,
really
so
liked this
solid.
episode.
And Adam was way more useful in this, and then he was on Flash. Flash, he was over there to fix a problem, didn't really fix the problem, then he left. And in this, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll take over for you."
Yeah,
because the public doesn't hate me yet.
The great way to create a crisis for Oliver in that he can't become the Arrow that sees it. So he's forced into a situation where he has to rely on other people. And the best use of Roy all season.
Yeah.
Which isn't not necessarily a knock on how he's used the rest of the season. It's just this was the best.
You
use
should
of
knock
him.
him, actually. The only other time he was the most useful is when Oliver was dead.
Yeah.
Like, when he wasn't there. Like, that. But besides that, like, he's just like, Arsenal, go cover me.
Yeah, I really like
Arsenal, go get hit by force lightning and then just lie down dead.
I'll walk away and come back around later.
and the I think the prison fight, while not as ambitious as anything on Daredevil, again going back to a Netflix show, they
Very
had more
well
time.
executed, though.
It was very well executed, very cool. Like I love Roy. Like I can't wait to see him show up again.
Which sucks, though. Like, I'm excited for him to come back when he was wasted a little bit.
But
on
honestly,
the season.
I like the idea of him being better as comeback because.
Like his own agent.
Yeah, because with Canary around and
Oh,
Diggle
yeah, that's
and
right.
Felicity, there's not really a lot of
Well,
uses
he's
for
not
Roy.
going to be a regular anymore. He's
Yes.
not going to be a regular next season, but he will come back for at least for one more episode this season.
Good.
So this isn't the last time we're going to see
Probably
him.
the finale, call in everybody you can to stop Ra's al Ghul.
There
much.
was there's someone interviewed Mark Guggenheim and Greg Berlanti, and they were saying that, like, well, it's the end of his contract, and like they knew it was coming, so they did a good job with his outro. And I
Yeah.
liked how, like, they were smart. I'm surprised they came up with such an intricate plan. It's a TV
I
show,
did.
but-
It makes more sense in hindsight, but I loved that, like, all that we could find was Roy Harper's fingerprints, and then he goes to them like, "Oh, we cleaned everybody else's but his."
How?
Like now, but now at least there's the explanation that they cleaned the whole place of fingerprints, and then just Roy went everywhere like.
Shit. Oh, also, where did they get a green tailored suit for Roy? Roy is like a foot shorter than him.
I don't
and
know.
tinier and
I
fitter.
don't know,
Yeah.
but I think this is probably one of the best episodes this season.
Villain was great. Oh, and Oliver taking over for Ray in his
for
body.
Ray. Yeah. So we
A
had
lot
a
of Roy
moment.
Grays.
We had a real Steel moment.
Yeah.
The movie where Hugh Jackman plays Rock'em Sock'em Robots via telekinesis or whatever, and we got that with our DC Iron Man this week
Yeah.
as Oliver is fighting in the moving Ray around in the suit.
Because we couldn't just put Oliver in the suit, which honestly
that
probably,
would be too complicated.
He probably could not pilot the suit for all the skills Oliver has piloting a high-tech suit.
All right, so everyone in the chat is saying Fabio Scott, Paul Alcantara are both saying Arsenal for Teen Titans.
Which would be great if Titans wasn't going to TNT.
Yeah, and they've made it kind of clear that things aren't crossing over as well as we'd like them to. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I would love a CW Teen Titans show with Arsenal as the front man for that.
That sounds great.
Wouldn't be mad with a
I'd be
Nightwing.
totally
Maybe a little Miss Martian.
that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Sorry, thrown off track, but not to lose track of. We had the whole fake out of Roy dying. Roy's fine, but Thea, Roz likes that. Look out if you're part of the Queen family. Look out for swords. Swords are your worst enemy.
Really,
You will probably get stabbed through the chest with a sword at some point
Oh,
in your
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
It was around the same time that happened to his mom last season.
Yeah, and so obviously I think a lot of people have said in the comments, and I feel like the obvious assumption is that Ross is putting her in a life and death situation so that Oliver's forced to join so he can use a Lazarus pick to resurrect her.
But the
He's
question
smart.
is,
Why doesn't he just call Katana? Clearly she's able to save people with sword wounds. through
No,
those.
he didn't die. He just got a mortal
No, he
wound.
died.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
kinda.
question is, though, what will happen to Thea after taking a dip in the Lazarus pit? Who will she become? Will
Ooh,
she
a
become
really interesting
cuckoo
sidekick.
crazy?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. If I was Willa Holland, I would be more excited to be on this show than ever before.
They've done such great things with her character
Yeah.
since the beginning of season 2.
Right. And
Minus
now
that-
finally they have a reason to call her Speedy, because
Yeah.
now she'll be the new sidekick, but she'll also be batshit insane from having a dip in the Lazarus pit.
Yeah.
We also
I
need to-
love that.
Unless they do something kind of lame where she forgets that she knows.
Oh,
all the
boo.
secrets.
No,
That
fuck
seems
that.
way more
Don't
possible.
you dare, Mark
Yeah.
Guggenheim.
That seems
Don't
way
you dare.
more possible.
That would be
That
rough.
seems like a pure Greg Berlanti move.
Yeah, but we do need to talk about Cisco dropping off Deadbolt.
Oh yeah, we had
and the gag of like, how do you feed them?
Yeah, we had a great.
They don't say it.
They had a tweet about that.
Doug Jones, who played Eye Hands Guy, he's used a lot
in Pan's Labyrinth, and he was Sapien in Hellboy.
And he's used a lot in Guillermo del Toro flicks, and the reveal that apparently somehow in Opal City you can get powers.
Yeah, somehow.
Or other people can get powers, and there might be other particle accelerator tests, or there's other ways. I don't know.
Some other way that even if you weren't in Central City, that you became a metahuman. Real quick, Diane at Manga Filipina also says, "Someone seriously love that someone Ray questions the prisoner maintenance."
Yes, I love the Ray and Cisco pairing. They are so cool together. And Cisco is really, the actor they're playing Cisco is really pulling his weight. And also, once again, really good episode for Quentin Lance.
Yes.
I like him in the antagonist role.
He's kind of an asshole.
He is an asshole.
Wait,
but
Roy's
I like
dead.
It.
But he's always been an asshole, and that's what, it's great for him to embrace his inner asshole.
And he'll be on The Flash, I think, next week if they're not skipping
That'll
another
be interesting
one.
if he's an asshole over there, too.
Yeah.
Also, fun for the fans out there, Opal City, I believe, is the home to Starman.
Oh.
Who I would love to see the
He's
CW.
a Starman burning in the sky?
No. I would love
like
to
to come and
see
meet us? Do you think
CW tackle the Jack Knight version of Starman. That was in the late 90s, I think early 2000s. Jack Knight's really cool. The Jack Knight Starman's really cool.
The Cosmic Stick.
With his, the Cosmic Staff.
Stick.
Yeah. No, overall, enjoyed this episode. Did any of you really think that Roy died? I was like,
No.
That's such an unceremonious death.
Either it happens on camera or it didn't happen.
I thought they would do like a Lazarus Pit thing with him, and that would have been kind of cool, but I didn't.
I honestly
got
thought he'd
a spoiler tweet, so that ruined that for me.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
Guys.
I honestly thought and still kind of think that he might end up joining the Suicide Squad.
That would be great.
No.
Have him
That'd
be
be cool.
the new leader. Have him be the new Deadshot.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
And have Cupid be all up in that shit.
All up,
'Cause she-
all
The red,
over
the
it.
red would be cool.
Yeah.
They're both
All
red.
over
All
it.
right, we got
Gross.
some cool news this week.
Oh yeah.
guys.
So let's talk about news. We had a question of the week this week, or question of the day, which is, what did you think of the Ant-Man trailer? But before we get into that, you can send us your tweets at the hashtag #SHRoundup. Sam, what did you want to talk about first? In our news segment, Sam has a point.
I just had this really cool point. There was this long period of time on the show where two other co-hosts like to rub it in my face that the Ant-Man trailer, the first one, was really bad. And we can all agree that it wasn't great. And I said, have faith, because the property will be fun, and the movie will be fun. It won't be Avengers or Daredevil, but it'll be fun. And then this new trailer came rolling around, and Sam said to himself, he's like, wow, this is really good. This could actually be a good movie. And then DJ and Matt, not to name names, was like, hey, this movie could actually be pretty good. Huh.
I don't think I said it could actually be pretty good. I think I said that it might not be complete horseshit.
Huh. I think you're saying that because you're like, damn, hold on. This movie actually looks good. Paul Rudd could be a good superhero. Ant-Man's
Paul Rudd
actually
could definitely
really
be a
cool.
good superhero. I don't think there's ever any doubt.
There was never any doubt about that.
Sure, there wasn't
We were just
any
worried about
doubt.
the direction. Here's the best part about this trailer. I guess we're talking about it now. And
Not to rub it in your face or anything.
yeah, but the best parts about this trailer were some of the action sequences, and the action sequences are still all of the ones that Edgar Wright came up with, because they were all prevised before he left the project. So
Interesting.
all
I
of
did not
the
know that.
action sequences, they rewrote the script around all of the action beats that he designed. So all of that great executed action.
Weird to rewrite everything but Edgar Wright's action bits.
Well, I don't know.
I will say my favorite bits in the trailer are Paul Rudd saying, "Show me how to punch," and she hits him in the face instead of his
comedy's
hand.
great, yeah.
And the train, the fighting on the
Oh,
train.
the train thing was
derailing.
really fun.
That was hilarious to
the
me.
interactions with the ants is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
It actually, like, at first I was like, this sounds like, when he got him the flying ant, I was like, this seems so stupid.
I also like I'm Ant-Man. The guy's like, look, I didn't choose it.
And the villain,
Yeah.
Yellow Jacket's really cool.
Really cool costume, and Corey Stoll, I'll watch him in anything, even The Strain.
Even the good for
yeah,
you,
the
man.
Strain, the Strain is hit or miss.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's some more news. There's pictures that came out from the Jessica Jones set. There was a picture of David Tennant as the Purple Man. I think there's a picture for that. Yeah, it's
Purple
real
Man.
cool. And it's not.
It's interesting. He does
Yeah.
not. He's not. His face is not purple, but he wears a lot of purple.
Wait, so
Kinda
he's the
Joker.
villain from Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yes.
Yes,
The
more or
Purple
less,
Man.
yeah.
Okay.
But he's looking really cool, and there's a picture of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones on a moped. Yeah, there's a picture of that too, which is kind of cool. But
I'll be interested to see
yeah.
how much Luke Cage figures into the show, considering he's
shouldn't a
getting
lot.
his own series.
Yeah, he shouldn't. He'll be there as like, I need to talk to somebody.
And I really hope that maybe the way Luke Cage gets off is he needs a lawyer.
Oh,
Basically, because I really want to see Charlie Cox's Daredevil again. I really like Charlie Cox's Daredevil.
real quick before we leave Ant-Man, I just want to give some shout-outs to some folks who wrote in tweets about the question of the day on Twitter. Joe Adamschick at Joe Entendu says, I gave up on the film when Edgar Wright left, but the trailer has me excited again. Eric Krampitz at Hustle and Meditate says, Ant-Man trailer totally got me interested. Did not care much before, really. And Robert Orozco at Roborazk says, what did you guys think of the train scene? I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I think that was definitely an Adam McKay rewrite.
Maybe.
It seems like it would be.
I will say the only way I will see this movie in theaters is if I hear a lot of good things to say or we cover it in the show. Which, by the way, we're talking about a way to cover Avengers Age of Ultron in the show, but that's probably a next week thing.
That's a next week thing.
Speaking of trailers and everything, there was a teaser trailer for Batman v Superman.
A 5 seconds, and it's just a costume and a costume.
And one of the shots of the Superman costume is from Man of Steel.
Yes.
Right.
But we have a picture of
the Batman costume. And it looks great.
Yeah, it does.
In the shadows.
Yeah, it does. Again, a lot of lines, but it looks like a lot of like damage on the suit, and at least it's not like high-tech line.
There's
stuff.
no
It's
panels
like a
on this
uniform.
one, DJ.
Yeah, which I am a fan
what
of.
I love is the cowl. The
Yeah,
cowl
cool.
looks angry. The little horns are short.
Yep.
It looks like a brawler's mask.
Yeah.
Not like an operatic long bunny ears thingy.
You're getting excited.
Yeah,
You're
I
getting
really
excited.
was excited. I really want to see Batman in motion.
I'm interested to see what they're talking about. A 15-minute teaser on Monday.
It's weird. Okay, so they're doing this. Warner Brothers is doing this thing where you can go online and sign up for free to get a special IMAX screening of like 15 minutes of footage. Don't know if that's just a scene or whatever.
or
like,
maybe like 10 minutes of Zack Snyder talking about the scene you're about ready to see.
Then you see the same trailer you just saw in IMAX, though. But yeah, you can sign up for it. It's probably already taken up. You can go on a wish list if you want, but it's kind of cool. There's in the real trailer should come out with Mad Max in a month. So
Actually, we've been hearing things that it might come out with Age of Ultron,
yeah.
which would be cool.
And hey, smart. So Stannis Baratheon, true king of Westeros, wants us to talk
listen,
about
no
yes.
superhero roundup. Come on.
before we get to Star Wars,
Yeah,
if we
come
want
on,
to talk
come on,
about
bro.
Come on.
Chill. He wants us to talk about Star Wars, and we will by the end.
We had a news story that either has gone up or will go up that's talking about Star Wars.
So go check that out over on SourceFed Nerd.
Yeah.
The
Patty Jenkins and Michelle McLaren, Wonder Woman.
Rumors that Michelle McLaren left Wonder Woman because they couldn't agree on what time period to set it in.
What?
And apparently she wanted a talking tiger sidekick, which at first blush sounds like something a studio would leak to make her sound dumb. Yeah. But to be fair, one of the biggest hit movies of last summer involved a talking raccoon, so maybe not a bad idea. And she might be mixing her metaphors because Shazam does have a talking tiger sidekick.
True.
And also, Michelle McLaren is an incredible director.
Yeah.
I would trust anything that she said. Maybe they thought that a talking tiger sidekick was dumb. Maybe it could be dumb. But what if the rest of the movie was fantastic?
Who knows? Who knows? Patty Jenkins will probably be fine. Not excited about her as
Jar Jar
Michelle
Binks
McLaren.
was not the only reason that episode 1 sucked. Give us the
there were a
talking
lot of
tiger, but
reasons.
give us all of the great drama that she would create.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad they got another female director. I'm glad it's
Patty
not
Jenkins.
I'm glad it's not another Patty Jenkins situation
It's such a
of
plain
4-2.
name.
Right, it's a
where
reverse
like,
Patty Jenkins.
Yeah,
thing.
where it's like, oh, this girl's not doing well. Let's just get another guy in here.
Yeah.
Is that what happened with Patty
That's
Jenkins?
what
I've been
happened
actually
with
trying
Thor
to do.
2. That's what happened with Thor 2. But here's the thing. I don't know.
You're not excited.
I'm not excited because like I've seen Monster and like
It won an Academy Award.
It won.
Maybe.
Charlize Theron won an Academy Award for Best Actress, but it didn't win. I don't think it won any other awards. And it was an okay movie, but it was a small little movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wonder Woman is
huge.
But again, they wanted her for Thor 2, and they kicked her off of Thor 2.
But
So
I feel like they're going to switch her
I
out
hope
one
they
more
get.
time.
I hope they
Thor
get
2.
Michelle McLaren to direct Thor 3.
There you go.
So that we have this perfect Zen moment. Also, what's his face? The guy playing Joker.
Jared Leto
Thank you,
leaked
Jared
this
Leto.
photo on like Snapchat of him as the Joker, and he's got the green hair and the red lipstick
What?
and then the
I
white
haven't seen
face.
And I don't think it's
Yeah.
official, and I think it's him having fun with the fan. His hair's dyed now, and he put on lipstick.
To be,
and-
yeah, it kind of looks lame, but it's like
how
it's
great
fun.
would it be if Joker was portrayed as like a queen with like
He
lipstick? and,
he
I
is.
buy it. Yeah.
I would love
anyway.
it because well, also Zack Snyder has such a huge boner for The Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
and he is portrayed as such a queen in that book.
But Joker's not showing
He has-
up in
come on,
Batman.
He
He
does.
doesn't
I
have-
know.
he's got a
I
huge
laugh.
boner
You said
for
boner.
Dark
I laugh
Knight
at boner. Yeah.
Who doesn't laugh at boner?
Also, really cool. Did you guys see the superhero fight club thing that the CW released?
real fun.
Come on, that was so
It
cool.
was
it's
so
just
cool.
an ad, and they brought in almost all their actors
Which
for
the only
it.
thing that confuses me about it is they were able to get their 2 stars for Flash and Arrow. They were able to get Ra's al Ghul and Wentworth Miller, Don Purcell, but for some reason could not get the people playing Canary and Arsenal.
They had
to show-
Firestorm there and Adam.
And
yeah.
Adam, and it's one of those like, why? What was going on that Arsenal and Canary were busy?
They even had both of
Yeah.
Firestorm. They had the 2 guys.
Guys,
yeah.
But it was fun. It was so much fun, and it was especially funny considering our jokes about Daredevil and Arrow fighting.
Yeah. We actually have a new shirt out on forhumanpeoples.com, or it's coming out. I don't know if it's coming out. I don't know if it's listed yet. But
Keep an eye out for it.
Keep an eye out for it. We don't
Nope.
mention it. Okay,
It's
it's not up yet.
So wait, keep an eye out for
But
it. Keep refreshing the For
our
Human
graphic
People's
designer
page.
Starlene Hodge made this thing. It's awesome. It's an old school boxing fight card. It's the Hood versus the Mask. It's
Yep.
Daredevil versus Green Arrow.
It's so cool.
So cool. You
Started
gotta
such
pick
a
it
good
up.
job.
Can we just-
forhumanpeoples.com.
By the way, can I just say it really bothers me how they deal with superhero names and show like,
Yeah.
what are we gonna call him? And he just jumps away. Daredevil. It's like it's not that. I feel like they make it too complicated. Like,
Yeah.
I really like the way they've used the name in Arrow. How they use the name as a symbol of his evolution. And by the way, with all these things about the fact that he can't be Arrow, maybe that means he becomes the Green
Arrow?
But really, it's not that difficult. If a guy started leaving bodies with green arrows in them, the newspaper would call him the Green Arrow Vigilante. Eventually, Vigilante would drop off, and everybody would just call him Green Arrow. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, why
I
they
feel
call
like
him
if
the
some,
Mask,
I feel
yeah.
like some guy sees a guy doing backflips off of things, and be like, man, that guy's a Daredevil. Good, he has his name. It's not rocket science. I feel like they put too much emphasis on explaining people's names.
Yeah. Well,
Whatever.
Doesn't matter. Yeah,
Oh,
here
oh,
we
oh,
got
oh.
the shirt.
Almost.
We got the shirt live on camera.
Okay.
Sam, hold it up. Hold up this awesome shirt that Star made.
My
We
hand.
helped out.
My hand.
Non-hand.
But like that is so cool. I would wear that. I would wear that.
There's a lot of fun nuggets of nerdiness.
Yeah,
in
it
it,
says
so-
Palmer Technologies presents Vigilante Violence, the greatest fight in effing history. Direct from ringside, Hell's Kitchen, streaming only. Following Arsenal versus Stick.
That's
Nice.
fun. I'd watch
Stick
that
would
too.
murder
Stick
Arsenal.
would murder Arsenal
murder
in a
some-
second.
Yeah.
And he really would.
He
He
really
would really,
would.
yeah, no, he would really kill him.
Really
yeah.
would kill him.
Oh,
Yeah,
also,
because
killed a child.
If we learn nothing from this Stick,
Stick
episode,
killed
Stick's-
a child.
Stick's a dick.
Yeah.
Sticks,
Stick's a
dick.
dick.
Sticks
dick.
Sticks
Dick. Also, Fisk is sad and then sometimes mad.
And
Yeah.
sometimes mad, and he's scary mad.
Oh
Yeah.
man, he's so funny when he's sad.
Oh, also really quick, one of the bloggers, his name's Jonathan, he said like the best way they could have ended that, sorry again, but that one scene with the Russian with the car door
Yeah.
is if he shut it. If he shut the door at the end of it, just like one more swing and closed it,
Yeah.
like that would have been like a, and you're like, oh my god,
Oh no!
oh
Yeah.
my god.
Real quickly, Olivia Munn as Psylocke. Fine. I don't
I'm
think
fine
Some
with it.
people hate it.
a
I
lot
don't
of people
care.
have absurd hate for her.
Yeah, I don't think she's the best actor.
I don't
No,
have any
but
opinion on
she
it.
did
Yeah.
solid work on the newsroom.
She did
I
solid work on
never
the
expected
newsroom,
her to be great, and
and-
she was really good on that
And,
show.
and especially considering she was just a host on G4, I think she's done really well as an actress. And I would imagine Psylocke's not going to be the biggest role in that movie, so it's not like
Like every
it's not
other
like the movie's
character.
like resting on her.
Yeah.
Although now that we've cast Deadpool and we've cast Archangel and we've cast Psylocke, I want my X-Force movie based on Rick Remender's run, and hire me to do it because I want to do Phantom X. Anyway,
oh my God, DJ!
DJ's a
Pimp
nerd.
yourself for work on this podcast.
even though I have no,
I mean, Sam Basher for Wally West, but
I mean,
Come
on.
And then you were saying something about Spider-Man in the MCU.
Oh, there's some cool news. One of the heads of Marvel, which I cannot remember, like went in
Kevin
depth.
Feige?
No, somebody else.
Jeff
But-
Loeb.
I don't know. But they went in depth and said like they've had all these plans for Spider-Man. They're so excited for it. They already have a bunch of like costumes already ready to go, and they're excited about it.
What?
And
How do they have costumes? They haven't even cast the guy. They don't even know if a costume will fit.
they'll tailor it. But they said that for Spider-Man, he will already exist. He'll just be this kid who made his own little Spider-Man costume, and he's out there like fighting crime, like on like street level like stuff. And then he will be introduced like Tony Stark and like whoever else they want to bring into that movie to help him like become a better hero, you know? So that's kind of cool that he already exists. He's already fighting crime, and we don't have an origin story.
Thank God.
No origin story.
Because
Thank
Marvel,
God.
if Marvel loves anything more than money, it's origin stories.
For those of you who didn't see the beginning of the show, we're getting some complaints in the chat that we're not talking about Gotham or iZombie. We talked
did.
about it at the top of the show. There isn't an annotation for it,
Yeah.
but if you go back to the beginning,
And
we
also,
talked
we
about it.
covered the entire series of Daredevil, so
So
something
it took
had
up a
to
lot
give.
of time.
Also, I loved in your Hulk story how you mentioned that they don't really want to do a Hulk movie because they can't just throw their formula at him like they do everything
Exactly.
else.
They're like, Hulk's not really a hero. He's
Yeah.
kind of
So
like
we
a
have to
werewolf.
like spend a couple minutes thinking
Werewolf's
about how to
my
make a
favorite
movie, and we don't like
superhero.
doing that. So screw
Werewolf
Hulk.
for Wally West.
Really quickly, my pull list. Can I do my pull list real quick,
do your
guys?
pull list.
I'm going to
We
do
got
my
a minute.
pull list real quick, guys. Convergence has been kind of hit or miss.
Okay.
I will tell you next week, Convergence Swamp Thing #1 comes out, and it's from the creator of Swamp Thing, Len Wein.
Thing.
I like
Swamp
Swamp Thing
Swamp
better than
Thing.
Swamp Thing.
Who also was the publisher on Watchmen. Len Wein's been in the biz for a while. He was DC's publisher for a long time. If you're loving, they said mention Star Wars. Star Wars issue 4 comes out next week, and the Marvel's been killing it on their Star Wars comics. So check that out. That's
cool.
In the indie world, Deadly Class 12 comes out, and that's a fun book about a high school for young assassins. And then Valiant is coming out with Divinity issue 3, and it's really good. It's a very cool highbrow sci-fi story. Valiant's been killing it on their books.
Yeah.
We said we talk about Star Wars?
Yeah, we did. We said we would give our thoughts on the trailer. I watched the presentation this morning. My favorite part of the presentation was how it started on a dude with a T-shirt can. But it was great seeing the cast, and I love how excited they are. And freaking Oscar Isaac, when they asked him who is Poe Dameron, he's like, he's the best damn pilot in the galaxy. I'm like, great casting.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And
what's
also, the robot came in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what is it?
Robot
BB-8.
BB-8 is so cool.
So cool.
It just validates my thoughts of like, if we put half as much effort to our practical effects as we did to CGI, we could make some incredible things.
Yeah.
BB-8 is really cool.
What are your-
I don't care much about the movie. BB-8 is awesome.
What were your thoughts on the trailer?
It's a very cool trailer. If I were more of a Star Wars fan, I'd be jizzing all over myself. I predict now that crazy black and red stormtrooper is probably going to be whoever that Darth Vader knockoff's sidekick is, and he will be the one that dies, and Darth Vader's sidekick will live, just so we can have like, oh look, that villain died, closure. But the main villain didn't, because sequels.
Listen, I really, really liked it. That opening shot of Daisy Ridley riding through the desert, and you've got the crashed X-Wing, and then the giant Star Destroyer, and I'm like, what battle was above this planet?
Yeah.
Because that's
It's not
basically what it is.
Tatooine.
It's not
It's
Tatooine.
Tatooine,
It's
yeah.
an entirely different planet. I know Steve was really excited about
Yeah,
that.
I'm glad it's not Tatooine. It's some other wasteland desert planet. That's
But
really original.
Harrison Ford and Chewie are going home.
No, it meant that they got on the Millennium Falcon.
We don't know.
No, spoilers. There were some script leaks. They're unconfirmed. They're rumors, but it lines up with everything that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
Which is basically that our new characters, the young characters, discover the Millennium Falcon, and that's how they get wrapped up in a larger plot to go find Luke Skywalker.
That's cool.
But they went
That's
home.
Fun. That's fun. Honestly,
The
it's
Falcon
cool.
is home.
And I
No,
said this,
they
and
went
I-
home.
And I said this in a tweet. As cool as it is to see Harrison Ford back, I really want to see Hayden Christensen return as Luke Skywalker's
child murderer.
child murdering dad. As a
No,
ghost.
I'm okay without that. So, folks, that is the end of our show for this week. Please come back. We do this show
Shame on
every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it will be on iTunes on Fridays.
Yes.
So if you prefer to just listen to it instead of watching it, then just tune in then, or you could do so twice, double dip. Maybe that's what you like. Keep an eye out for that shirt on forhumanpeoples.com in the coming days. And also, SourceFed Nerd is releasing a new sketch. It's If Sansa Stark Was a YouTuber, and it's a great vlog. It's her and Joffrey doing the Whisper Challenge.
It's really funny. It's
Sam's
really
in
funny.
it. You should check that out. It's posting today in the next hour. It's posting at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard. Right now it's about 5:10. So give it about 50 minutes. Go watch that video. Share the hell out of it. We had a great time making it. I'm Matt Lieberman.
I'm Sam Basher.
I'm DJ Wooldridge, and somebody in the comments said I dismiss plot formulas just because they're plot formulas, not because they don't work. No, if they work, then I don't mention them.
I'm wearing socks.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.
Can you feel that sweat in there?
Yes. Swass. Oh, we didn't talk about Powers because we didn't have time to watch it. Yay!
Because we didn't watch it. Because we didn't have. It's the same thing with God.